Hello, hello, hello. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I know I'm a little bit late. A tiny bit. A tiny bit late. I apologize. And you know what? I'm so sorry that you guys are going to get a shit ton of late points. So I think we'll be all even here. Alright, hold on. Here we go. Let's put up all necessary things. Put up all necessary stuff. Yeah, it's... yeah, 19 points. I got you guys, 19 points. We got it. I got it. Hold on. Here we go. Of course I will give you guys the points. Of course. All right, here we go. Where's my late penalties? All right. Yeah, and today's stream is going to be a lot of fun. I was actually looking forward to this stream quite a bit because I was looking forward to... I actually wish we could have done it last Friday because I was excited to do it last Friday, but best to do the chapter predictions on Fridays, you know. It's just the way it goes. All right, shit. Now we're in kind of a... Now I'm going to have to really start buckling down. And I've said this before, but now I have to really start buckling down with the late penalties. Because as we can see here, it's a little tight. So we're at 82. So we're now at... Fuck! We're at 101, right? Shit. Oh, man. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Do you guys want to spend... Do we want to spend? Let's get the stream likes up. Let's get the stream likes up to 50 real quick, because you guys are probably happy about the late points. Yeah, do we want to spend? Do the people want to spend? What do they want to do? Let's see. Do we spend some late points? Remember, you don't have to spend all the points. You can spend on something small, if you like. I'm not even trying to manipulate points here. This is just me just giving you guys a little reminder of how the system works. Slick Ricky, thanks for being a Yonko tournament for 8 months. Late at this rate, we'll get Bollywood dance in no time. Yeah, that's it. If you guys can accumulate infinite points, we could consider the Bollywood dance. All right, so people are leaning no. I'm curious what people are like saving up for this time around. Before it was obviously for the video defending Wano, but you know, here I'm just not sure. Just not sure. All right. Yeah. I was beginning to lose hope. All right. Waifu tier list. Yeah, I guess waifu stream is a particularly bad one that you guys could save up for. All right. What time was you supposed to start? 8:15 EST. 8:15 EST. Let's get stream likes up to 50 real quick. And updates. So I'm currently getting through Kagurabachi. I think I'm at chapter 40 something. I think I'm at around chapter 40 something. I don't think this is like a major spoiler. I finished the auction arc. Kagurabachi is a lot of fun. I'm liking this a lot. I was iffy. You guys remember my previous update, right? I got 10 I got about 10 chapters in, and I wasn't feeling it. It felt very generic. Can you guys hear me? Is the mic still working? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it initially. 10 chapters in, felt generic. The only thing I didn't like at that point in time, didn't like the main character, didn't like the kid side character, didn't like the power system relied on, like, there's only 7 really powerful weapons. Like, either you have the weapon or you don't. Do people want to hear me? I would recommend Kagurabachi. I don't know if people want to hear, like, a whole review of Kagurabachi so far, but I'm really enjoying it right now. Completely changed my opinion on the main character. I'm liking the main character a lot now. Yeah, I'm liking the main character a lot. He reminds me, I guess, a little bit... Initially, I thought the main character was, like, a Zoro knockoff, but once you hear kind of, like... Now that we've spent more time with him, I've realized that it's more so the sword aspect and a bit of the design and general demeanor that's a bit Zoro-esque, but the character himself is quite different from Zoro, I think. Like, much more... generally much more cerebral, strategic character. A little bit more like Batman I guess I would say, if that makes sense in terms of like his mission and the overall plan. And I feel actually, you know what I would say? I would say it's similar to a version of solo leveling where if Sung Jin Woo wasn't just like broken, complete, like wasn't just like way stronger than everybody else, pretty fast, you know. A bit more of a grounded version of the solo leveling angle in terms of the main character type and his trajectory, kind of, in terms of like he's got his own mission, personal mission that happens to align with other stuff, but he works on his own for the most part. But yeah, we can hear you fine. He had a lot to say for only being 10 chapters in, because I feel like 10 chapters in. Yeah, it's not. You're right. It's not fair to judge series based off of 10 chapters in. But it was. I would just say like the initial part was. I just felt no strong appeal for it in the beginning section. I think everything that I think it's good at now, because like I guess the way you would put it is, the way I would put it is like lots of times series like at least early on you get an idea of like what the appeal is. But now I've realized for this series that the things that I actually really like about it are not clear early on. Yeah. Pre-TS or post-TS Zoro, if I had to say one, he's more similar to pre-time skip Zoro, but he's not similar to Zoro overall, I would say. Yeah, I definitely like Agurabachi. I'd say the auction arc that I just finished had some phenomenal fights, phenomenal just general narrative arc in terms of how it built the conflict, the tension, kept the stakes feeling high, lots of twists and turns, and it did something very well. Like, I love when anime are able to execute certain fights where it feels like each time like progress is made, things get even harder and harder, and it keeps surprising you with like, okay, that was like a really good climactic concluding moment, but then it hits you with like, oh wait, there's actually more, and it keeps ramping it even further than you would realize, and then still ends in a very satisfying manner. I remember that was a large part of why I really enjoyed Demon Slayer's Entertainment District arc. I think that was a really good arc at doing that. Yeah. I don't know spoilers on Kagurabachi, please, but I'm really liking the main character a lot. Really liking the main character a lot. I thought he was just going to be like a Zoro or Ichigo knockoff type character. He's very much his own thing, and much more enjoyable to follow. Like, I think more enjoyable to follow than most shonen MCs so far, for sure. Because one thing I dislike is a lot of shonen MCs, they have to be written as though they don't have a brain. It's just like a rule. And I think that's necessary almost because it makes it easier to write. It's easier to write a shonen when the main character doesn't have a brain because it allows the author to not have a brain, if that makes sense. That's like a bad way to say it, but it allows for the plot to be a little bit more free flow. But I appreciate when the main character has a brain because it forces the story to have clear direction and like logical steps and everything like that. Whereas if the main character is dumb, then you can get away with like, you know, a lot of little holes or like illogical steps and things like that. So yeah, and obviously the action is phenomenal. Visually phenomenal action. Visually truly phenomenal action. I'm just always jarred by like the gap between like the high level effort panels in action versus the standard art where no action is happening. I think there's a big gap. Don't care for the character designs. I think character designs are an area where things could be stronger. A lot of not much poppy character designs, but that's like a minor critique. Maybe that'll change as things go on. And like in the villains of the first two arc, first two villains of the story, that's hard to get really good. Like, those are two really, really strong villains to start the story. Yeah, no Kagurabachi spoilers. Yeah. Yeah, the visual action is really good. And then I also really like that the strategy of fights, it's got that additional cerebral aspect to it. Liking it a lot. Yeah, just a really strong, phenomenal start to the series. If I were to go through like all the... Here, let me answer this real quick. Polestar, thanks for the 10. Morge, am I the... Hold on one second. Let me see this. Am I the only one bothered by Oda's plagiarisms? He gave character names like Loki, Whitebeard, Blackbeard, Poseidon, etc. Look at me, I'm important. Loki, who's clearly Thor, is the worst of the bunch in my opinion. I don't think that's plagiarism. That's just referencing. That's just references. That's just references. That's just references to stuff. Like that's just references. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. I think one thing I don't like is when, to varying degrees, Oda has... I always use the Magellan example. Like, sometimes Oda plays it straight with how tightly he adheres to one of his references, stories, Like, sometimes, the story of Blackbeard... Like, Oda wrote Blackbeard as the main pirate villain of One Piece because Blackbeard is historically, the most notorious pirate. So Oda's that'll be who I base my final villain of a pirate story around, right? But then you've got other characters like Magellan that have absolutely nothing to do with Magellan. Like, there's no connection whatsoever, unless I'm completely missing something. Loki, who's clearly Thor, is the worst of the bunch in my opinion. I don't know about that. I think it's cool. JR, thanks to the 2. You say Zoro and Ichigo copy as if they're similar. Zoro and Ichigo are not similar. They're similar in demeanor. Okay, so I guess they're very different characters. When I'm saying similar, right? They're very different characters. When I'm saying similar, I'm saying in terms of basic level personality stuff, right? There's a lot more that I like about Zoro than Ichigo personally, right? Different motivations and everything like that as well, and different personality quirks, of course, but and driving factors, etc. What really makes them them? But I would say, if I'm just on a surface level, if I'm following personality-wise, the similarities are that they're both relatively introverted, stoic characters that are a bit more serious and more straightforward in their way of thinking. Serious, straightforward, grounded in their way of thinking. I would say the simplest thing I could say is that they're generally a bit more go with the flow type characters. And I'm never going to expect deep thought from Zoro or Ichigo in their fights. Zoro's version of formulating a plan is let me go through 5 different tactics to defeat Pika. The best tactic is if I just get thrown across Dressrosa and cut him up with my swords, which is basically that's the Zoro equivalent of that, right? Ichigo also very they're simpler thinkers, right? Zoro has moments of wisdom for sure, but that's not his defining character. That's not his defining character trait, I would say, right? I was worried about following a character like that throughout as the main character of the story because I love Zoro as the accompanying side character, but there's a reason I don't love Ichigo over time as the main character of Bleach, stuff like that. I don't even like Guts as the main character of I would say Guts and Zoro, you would agree, are similar characters, right? I don't enjoy following Guts as the main character of Berserk, not because Guts is not a phenomenally written character. He is a phenomenally written character. I just generally don't like those characters as my main character. It's hard to explain why that's a distinction, but it just is. I tend to not vibe with that as just being the main character of a story. Chihiro, the reason I enjoy him more is because there is a lot more thought going on there. There's just a lot more thought, strategy, intent, big picture thinking. Even just in fights, I enjoy that there is a cerebral aspect to everything that he's doing. I like that stuff. Zoro, while I love Zoro as a character, I love him for the role that he is in One Piece. But I don't think I enjoy personalities like Zoro, Ichigo, Guts as the main driving character generally. Polestar, thanks for the 10. He uses famous characters from other lore to give free publicity / importance to his characters. It's a cheap writing tool. It's It's like a new TV show calling their characters Walter White or Tony Soprano. I think the difference is timing, because the characters that he uses are generally historically famous, right? Tony Soprano or Walter White would be contemporary, right? I think the better example would be if Oda named a character in One Piece Walter White or Tony Soprano. That's pretty different. I don't think it gives free publicity or importance to his characters. If anything, that's kind of a dangerous game because, like, forever, the character Loki in popular culture, like, if you looked up Loki right now, the images that are going to dominate Google Images, right? Like, let's do a little test. If I look up Loki, the images that'll dominate Google Images are this dude here. It's the other way around, right? Like, it's it's dangerous to base your characters off of better known. I mean, Loki himself is mythological, right? But then Loki in the modern day has become much more known for the MCU. So Oda's really playing with fire here, naming a character, like such an important character in One Piece after Loki, because it's like, I don't see a world where One Piece's Loki is ever replacing MCU Loki on Google Images, I would say the only thing that I can really think of is, I'd say Zoro is the only example I can think of where Oda's drawing on a modern fictional IP and really kind of stealing that for his character. That's the only thing I can think of. And I would say that that's something that actually bothered. I mean, they literally had to change Zoro's name to Zolo to avoid confusion for the West, right? So I would agree that's something that I think, is odd, but generally speaking, just drawing from historical stuff is okay, Memes aside, Guts is genuinely more complicated than Zoro is. The whole point of Guts is blah, 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 blah. I'm talking purely about the surface level, right? Surface level, chapter to chapter, as I'm reading Guts, the similarity, like, if you put Guts, Zoro, and Ichigo in a room, or just followed them for like a little bit, at the surface, like, if you dig underneath, then of course they're going to have major differences, right? But the general demeanor and how they act is, on a surface level, similar, right? If you dig deeper, there's a million differences between Guts' deeper level personality versus a Zoro versus an Ichigo, right? But the base level personality, demeanor, the way they talk, the way they act, that stuff is relatively similar, Introverted, somewhat grounded characters that are a bit logical, bit abrasive, brusque, etc. Similarities, stoic, yada yada. Chihiro is that, but then if you just follow his writing or dialogue for like even a couple of chapters, it becomes very clear that he is that, but more in a sense like more cerebral. I'd say that's the bigger thing. Like more cerebral, bigger vision, strategy, etc. And I personally find that more engaging on a surface. I'm not saying Chihiro is a better character than any of those three characters, okay? Just saying on a surface level, what's more engaging for a main character for me to follow, for me, that's that. Abraham, thanks for the 5. Would you ever do a review on the One Piece filler arcs, specifically G8, the arc that should have been canon? I've skipped too many One Piece filler arcs. I used to watch them early on before I began, because like early on when I was catching up to One Piece, I was in like 6th grade, right? Like really catching up. Like I had access to a laptop, I could catch up. I was watching on generally YouTube, and then I think at some point like some illegal sites or whatever. And at that point, I think I did end up watching lots of filler arcs, but it would depend, because I wasn't following a guide that would explain which arcs are filler or not. So it would just kind of, like, I'd be watching some episodes, and then at some point I'd kind of get the sense that, like, this seems like it's not real. Like, this seems like filler. Like, there's just certain telltale signs that filler has, right? So Some of them I would watch because they would blend in so seamlessly you wouldn't even realize that they're filler. Because the thing with One Piece that is different from a lot of other series is that, like, One Piece can start a storyline and really take its time, you know? So you can not, like, you could, like, One Piece could have us, like, for example, right? Imagine we're traveling to, like, we've been given the big goal of, like, we gotta go take down Crocodile and Baroque Works and this whole Shichibukai thing going on in Alabasta. And they're going to Alabasta and they're going to Alabasta. But then, one day, oh no, Nami's fallen sick. So we're actually gonna take a detour to Alabasta and go to this random fucking island that wasn't on the agenda, right? So Nami falls sick, we go to some random island, it's got snow, does it have any fucking important characters? No. Like, you know, so like the first several, it's the most detour imaginable, and you also kind of pick up pretty early on that it's not related to the Baroque Works plot or anything or whatever. So you can get through a good portion of that arc before we get to serious stuff with like Chopper or whatever, right? So essentially but that's a canon arc, obviously, right? But because One Piece is structured like that, where especially early on in the story, you can, like, they go to so many random islands, essentially, some of which don't progress the plot whatsoever, and a lot of them have very simple beginnings, like, oh no, Nami got sick, so we gotta take a detour to go to some random island. It's an island of doctors and snow or whatever, and rabbits and shit, right? Because One Piece sets that precedent for its canon arcs, it can be difficult to catch One Piece filler arcs when they're starting, because there's not that much difference, because it's like, okay, we're stopping at this island, and it's a random island, and Usopp's going to learn something about fireworks or something at this island, and you don't know if it's actually leading to a significant storyline that's going to happen here, because anything could happen, right? They're sitting out around at fucking Long Ring Longland, and they run into fucking the most filler-ass crew ever, Foxy, and the Foxy Pirates, talking about a fucking random-ass game called the Davy Backfight. And it turns out it actually is a very important arc because of the Aokiji stuff that happens, but because One Piece is like that, you just never know, at least early on in the story, are we in a filler arc, or is this, like, important shit that's happening, right? So, it took some time before I got better at identifying what's filler or not filler, but as time went on, I did end up skipping a lot of the One Piece filler arcs, including G8. I realized that G8 is filler. Like, it had a filler feel early on, and then eventually I did look up and I was like, it's filler, so I'm going to go ahead and skip this. But I did end up watching both rounds. For those of you who don't know, the anime does the Davy Backfight twice, so for those of you who missed that, you can get sucked, because, like, the anime cheats a little bit. It's like filler blended in with non-filler, in a sense. Yeah, I guess I'm rambling a little bit here, but early on, I did see a decent share of filler arcs, but at the same time, like, a lot of it would be like, I'd get halfway through it, and then I'd realize, like, something would tip off. I'd be like, okay, we've been doing this bullshit for a while. It feels like this might not be a real thing. And then I'd realize that we're in a filler arc, and then I'd skip ahead, right? So a lot of the One Piece fillers, I've seen some I've seen all the way through, some I recognize right away and skipped, yada yada. The one filler arc that I remember most vividly was actually the Don Achino filler arc. Because the Don Achino filler arc came at the perfect merging of two paths, which was like when I was, I had just caught up to the manga, I'd caught up to the anime during Enies Lobby. Towards the climax of Enies Lobby, I caught up to the anime, okay? So I essentially became a weekly viewer of the anime. But I wanted to see what's happening ahead, so I started reading the manga a little bit. So I was in this zone where I'm watching the anime weekly for episodes, but I'm also cheating ahead a little bit to read the manga, and then eventually I'm like basically weekly with the manga and weekly with the anime, and I'm doing these two things. I'm like, now I'm a weekly manga reader, but also a weekly anime viewer. And then I think I would have continued that trajectory until the Don Achino arc. This is where the anime lost me, right? So the anime fucked up with doing this. The Don Achino arc is what threw everything off, because, like, before I was like, okay, I'm here in the manga and the anime's here. I can't wait for the anime to catch up. Right? Because it didn't feel like the anime's that far behind. But then we hit the Don Achino arc, and this really tested me. Because now in the Don Achino, like, I'm reading Thriller Bark in the manga weekly, but now in the anime, week after week, it's just filler. So I'm tuning in to watch, and then at a certain point, I like get tired of watching the Don Achino arc, and then that's where the anime loses me. I tell myself, like, I'll just wait till they get to Thriller Bark, and then I'll go back to being a weekly anime viewer. Didn't do it. I even tried. Like, once Thriller Bark was starting, I was going back to watch it weekly in the anime, but it just didn't stick. Like, once you're caught up in the manga and you know what's coming next, it can be, it just gets hard to go back to the anime, and, like, it just becomes apparent how slow the pacing is, how long, like, how many weeks and months it's going to take to get to something interesting. Yeah, it's just rough stuff. Yeah. Anyway. Sorry for the long tangent on filler, but, just getting some thoughts off. Continuing on. JR, thanks for the 5. Why is a video of defending Usopp an option? Did I miss anything? Do you hate him? Does he need defending? Also, what is Magellan named after, or who? Francis Magellan, right? He might have been the first person to circumnavigate the globe, or one of the first people to claim to circumnavigate the globe, or something along those lines. He was like an explorer, right? And video defending Usopp, I like Usopp. Usopp is legitimately top 5 strats for me. He's been harder for me to enjoy. Usopp is like a character of highs and lows for me. I think he has genuinely the highest highs, character writing wise, of any of the Straw Hats, like consistently throughout the story. Consistency in Usopp is the wrong word to use, but I'd say like he has the most, especially pre-time skip, you could most frequently count on Usopp out of all the Straw Hats to have like a really good writing moment in a given arc. It was just more frequent for Usopp, by far. The rest of the Straw Hats would get development, but it was just more infrequent. Even post-time skip, it seemed initially like, okay, Usopp's going to get some good stuff. Like, the pattern seemed still good, because, one of the first big arc out of the post-time skip, Dressrosa, again, major Usopp storyline. It's just been so dry for him since then. But, like, when Oda's cooking with Usopp, his writing for Usopp is generally better character development than the other Straw Hats get. So I don't need to do like a video, like for me, I don't hate Usopp or anything like that. This is the penalties are just things that people voted for me to put down. And I was actually very happy to put down a video defending Usopp as one of the penalties. I shouldn't even say that really, but like for me, that's not a hard thing to do, especially during Elbaf. I do believe that Usopp will get something, so like video defending Usopp is an easy penalty for me to do, because I don't even view it as a penalty really. Tip Tier Visa, thanks to the 2. Chihiro, Moggs, Ichigo, I fight to defend this take. I mean, like, in this moment, I would obviously say yes, because, like, I have generally, over time, I've generally soured on Ichigo as a main character. I find him very boring as a main character. But once upon a time, Ichigo was my favorite main character. If you went back and asked, like, middle school age Morge, probably early high school age Morge, if you asked me back then. Yeah, Ichigo was my favorite main character. I think I had Ichigo as my favorite main character from an anime, even above Luffy, funnily enough. I've just found him very boring over time. Very boring, one-dimensional over time. And I also find it funny when people try to argue why Ichigo is actually really deep and complex. It's like, no, he's I mean, like, no one's arguing that there's nothing going on under there, but it just doesn't feel like there's that much to get behind or whatever. Like, to me, I haven't gotten far in Kagurabachi at all, but I like Chihiro a lot already. At the general personality level, right? For me, he's a more engaging character to listen to talk, to listen to their internal monologues, to listen to them in a fight than Ichigo so far. Take it off as a penalty and replace it with a law defense? No. No, I'm happy with what we got. Polestar, thanks to 5. Modern literature, Moby Dick, Whitebeard, Captain Ahab. Is Moby Dick modern literature? When was Moby Dick written? 1850? What? That's like 2 centuries ago. That's 200 years ago. Captain Ahab, Dracula Mihawk. Let's see. When was Dracula's probably 20th century, right? When was Dracula written? No, again, 1897. This is, I think 20th century you can still count as modern literature to some degree, and even then it's like iffy, cause it's like would references to Cthulhu be modern literature? I mean, I feel like in the last 100 years, I don't know. Count of Monte Cristo equals law? How is law? Okay, so I'll admit I've only read the first half of Count of Monte Cristo. Okay? But I have read the first half of Count of Monte Cristo. I don't see how that's Trafalgar Law. I mean, just wanting a revenge, like having a revenge scheme. I don't think that's what? Frankenstein equals Gecko Moria? No, now this is just getting unfair because like this is horror tropes in general. You can't just take away horror tropes in general. Like, yeah, those things generally came about in the early parts of the 20th century, right? Frankenstein, early 20th century, am I right? Frankenstein. Oh my god, Frankenstein. Oh, I was totally wrong. Frankenstein, 19th century. Damn, they had some good-ass sci-fi back then. Okay. So Dracula and Frankenstein, all 19th century. That's pretty cool. It's pretty good to know. Pinocchio, Usopp. Is Pinocchio modern? Isn't Pinocchio like an old tale? Pinocchio. 1883. What do you consider modern literature? Like, by this logic, is like, by this logic, is like Birth of a Nation modern cinema? Like, how's that modern? Wouldn't this all fall under like classic literature? Am I crazy? What? Are you just like a really old person? Are you like 100 years old and therefore for you this is modern? Dobby Greg says the first half was the book boring. No, okay, so here, let me tell you guys some things, okay? So, first, I read The Three Musketeers, and let me tell you something about how they wrote back then, okay? Three Musketeers is actually extremely riveting. It's like a really good book, except for the end. Like, I do not know how they fucked this up, all right? I do not know how they fucked this up, all right? But keep in mind, this was... Did this come before or after? Hold on. Did he write this before or after Three Musketeers? This was 1844. Okay, I guess it doesn't really matter, but basically, Three Musketeers, really, really good book. And it's supposed to be like this swashbuckling, like their version of like a swashbuckling action story or whatever, right? Plot's really good, very intricate, good characters, yada yada. The title is stupid because there's 4 Musketeers, but whatever. I don't know why whatever, it doesn't matter. So anyway, the whole book, I feel like, is leading up to this confrontation, right? Like this duel between like D'Artagnan and like whatever his name was, the guy with his name begins with an R, right? The main villain swordsman, okay? The entire book is leading up to like some good duels, you would think, but the ending of the book is actually like the fights that you expect to happen don't happen. It actually doesn't conclude on big fights, even though there's a whole book about like fucking musketeers that are fucking doing sword shit, right? There's no good duels at the end. It just fizzles. In fact, if I remember, like they all end up on the same side or some shit at the end. Even when I read this like in high school, so this is not like the sharpest memory that I've got, okay? But it's just straight up like it's the most disappointing shit ever. So Count of Monte Cristo, I remember enjoying the first half of the book when he's been imprisoned, him stewing, yada yada, etc. But at the same time, like all it took was like I had my doubts throughout it because I was like, I still remember how Three Musketeers ended, and that was asked. It was like, imagine if all of One Piece is leading to the final war, and then they don't have a final war, right? So I was just not convinced that it would pay off well, the Count of Monte Cristo, and then I think at some point I took a little break, and then I just didn't keep reading it. Anyway. Aryandahal, thanks to the 2. Season 2 filler idea for One Piece live action, like Garp/Kobe. I mean, I think Smoker would be great. Modern literature is the Canterbury Tales. Is it? Anyway, Taptio Treviso, thanks to the 10. If Blackbeard is the fusion of control/chaos, then maybe he will possess the World Serpent if he steals Imu's fruit. If not, then Blackbeard gets a World Serpent fruit, since that could also work thematically. Yeah, I feel like Blackbeard getting either of those fruits would be pretty cool. But then I just wonder, I'm like, would it be weird just seeing like Loki fight the World Serpent, and then I guess Loki presumably wins, and then the next battle is Luffy fighting the World Serpent? I guess you could say the same logic with like if Blackbeard takes Imu's fruit. But I guess the difference is just that I feel like if Emu's defeated in like a team effort or something, it would just be a little weird to see like the World Serpent defeated in essentially a 1v1 with Loki, and then it's just recycled for a 1v1 with Luffy. Whereas I think like a team battle against Emu's abilities followed by Blackbeard stealing Emu's abilities and Luffy now having to 1v1 him would have a different vibe. But that is speculating a lot on how those matchups would play out. Like, they might not play out like that at all. Let's get Streamlabs up to 50 real quick. Julian Reed, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. Naruto is plagiarism. He's literally copying the noodles. And Bleach is copying the Clorox. What the hell? This is blasphemous. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, Oda clearly likes drawing from existing stories, right? Like, if you really want to get technical, like, he copies a lot of Disney stuff, especially lately for Whole Cake Island. Although Alice in Wonderland is older, right? But Power Rangers type stuff for Germa. I mean, Oda's just always liked combining a lot of concepts. Yeah. You're not watching the regular season, but will you watch the NBA playoffs? I think I will. I think I won't be able to resist watching the playoffs to some degree. But I generally, like, I don't enjoy watching sports just for the sake of watching sports. I need to watch with some level of hope, you know? I need something to root for. So if it feels like the Thunder are just inevitable, I mean, like, here's the thing. Where I'm at right now, here's the good news with where I'm at right now, okay? The good news with where I'm at right now is, like, my standards for what makes me happy with basketball have fallen so low that, like, because before it would be like, before I had so many teams that are, you know, teams that I enjoy, like, LeBron, my favorite player for a long time, Steph, my second favorite player for a long time, so for years I could root for, like, either the Lakers or the Warriors, like the 2020s, right? I could root for the Lakers, the Warriors. Jokic became one of my favorite players. Luka became one of my favorite players. So then I was like, okay, now I can root for the Nuggets. I rooted for the Mavs when they made that run. And then now Luka's actually with the Lakers. So that makes it all easier in theory, right? But the last couple of years have been so disappointing with the Celtics winning and then the Thunder winning. And now it doesn't look like the Lakers are going to win anything. Doesn't look like the Warriors are going to win anything. Nuggets have a shot, but I'm not going to bet the farm on them. Now I've reached a point where before I would watch the NBA excited to root for my favorite team to win the championship. Now my expectations have fallen so low. It's more like I'll just be happy if the Thunder don't win. That's where I was during last year's final. I was just like watching Pacers Thunder, and I was like, at this point, like, I was never a big Pacers fan in the season. I didn't give a shit about them. But at that point, I was just like, I'll be happy as long as the Thunder don't win. So where we're at now, one, I think the Thunder will win, unfortunately. And two, it's just like, the good news is, like, I love Wembanyama. I think he's the future. Everybody, I mean, that's not a hot take at all. Everybody thinks that. But I love Wembanyama. Not just, like even as a person, he's a really, really cool figure for the game. Like, he seems like a good dude. And a very interesting NBA personality. Um, I think there's a lot of potential there for him to be like the next face of the NBA. But without going into too much, like I'd be happy if so many teams win. Like if the Spurs won, if the Nuggets won, if the Lakers won, obviously, if the Timberwolves won to some degree. I've got mixed feelings about Anthony Edwards. If the Warriors won, right? I'd be happy if any of those teams win. I just feel like the Thunder are going to come out of the West. I'd be okay, like genuinely I'd be okay with like almost anyone but the Thunder winning. I'd be okay with the fucking Celtics beating the Thunder at this point. Even the Rockets maybe. I just don't want the Thunder to win. That's all I want. Cadmus Monkey, thanks for the 2. Emu kills Usopp and Elbaf to make the world government personal. I don't believe in Usopp dying anymore. For a long time, I thought that was like... I genuinely was behind that theory. One Piece has just become so averse to death, of like meaningful death in like the post-time skip, that I just don't believe... I can't imagine Oda doing a character death like that and then like, how do you have the happy ending? You know, like Oda wants the happy ending at the end. So now I look more so at characters like Law, like Loki, obviously like Shanks, to be potential deaths at the end of One Piece, but a Straw Hat dying is too, I think that's too, I don't think that would work. I don't think that would fly. Mo Man, thanks for the 2. I thought Blackbeard was supposed to get the Octopus Devil Fruit end of story. That was a popular theory for a while, and I actually like even considered that to be a popular theory, but now I'm not really behind that. Maybe it happens, but I don't know. Tiptio, thanks for the 5. If Blackbeard gets a fruit that Luffy fought before like Emus, he would still have the Yami Yami / Guruguru, so 1/3 Devil Fruits repeats wouldn't mean Blackbeard is just repeats. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's just that with the World Serpent, I think it's more so that it's like... I feel like the battle against Emu will be a team battle. To me, I think it's more so like repeating the... a duel against a World Serpent feels like a little bit different than a team battle against Emu. I don't know why that feels different. It just feels a little bit different for me. So I don't know. There's not. I'm not saying that there's a ton of logic to that preference. Also, let's get Streamlux up to 50 real quick. All right, now here we're gonna do a thing, which is I need to look up again what program I used, what site I used for the wheel in the past. You guys remember the wheel? The wheel that we've used? Does anyone remember the wheel off the top of their head? What site that was? Because I love that wheel. That was a great wheel. I just don't remember. I don't remember what the site itself was. Yeah, I want to pull up this wheel. What the hell? Where's this wheel? Does anyone remember? Oh man. Okay. All right. You know what? We can do this. I can find this. I should have found this beforehand. But okay. I think I found it. All right. Here we go. So the site is. Yeah, I think Oda could kill some picker wheel. Let's see. Oh my god. Okay, I found it. The site is called wheelofnames.com. I feel like I probably should be able to figure that out, but you know, it is what it is. Wheel of Names. All right. Here, let me show you guys what I'm looking at. All right. Okay, Wheel of Names, right? So, like, hypothetically, can you guys see this? So, like, we would put down characters like, you know, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, stuff like that, right? And it eventually becomes a full-ass wheel. The way we're going to do the draft for this is we're going to do top 30 One Piece characters of all time. Top 30 One Piece characters of all time. Here, you know what? We'll just shout out some names. We are going to, the rules are here. We'll do, Yeah, I think 30 is good. We'll do like, what's the best way to do this? Here, what I'm thinking is we'll do we're gonna do some restrictions, right? Beating Loki. So here's some restrictions, okay? So, well, first let me break down the criteria. Criteria will be stuff like battle IQ. We're picking a character for each one of these things, and we get a certain number of spins, right? So, I guess let's start with basics first, like physical body. Like, whose physical body do we take? Strength, durability. I don't know if strength matters as much, but we can keep it. Strength, durability, conquerors, hockey, observation, hockey, weapon, plus weapon skill. Weapon plus weapon skill means you get the character's weapon and their skill. Or should it just be weapon plus... Should weapon skill be a separate thing? I don't know. We'll figure that out. Battle IQ, Devil Fruit. Hold on. Let's get the obvious. Devil Fruit. I think weapon plus weapon skill should be the same thing. Because it's like... Yeah, right? Like, shouldn't it be the same thing? Also, let's get stream likes up to 50 real quick, because we're almost there. Yokata, thanks to the 10. I saw a post about how strong Loki is on our One Piece, and 90% of the posts put him lower... Whoa! Put him lower than Yonko and Admiral. People have no reading comprehension and put him that low solely because of his bounty. What? I'd be surprised. I thought that most people have him way higher right now. 90% of posts put him lower than Yonko and Admiral? Everything that I mean, I don't really use the One Piece Reddit, but like everything I've seen from like random, like even YouTube Shorts, what I've seen on Twitter, are people putting him below Yonkos and Admirals? How does that even make sense? Is this new or is it like what? Bolstar, thanks to 10. At what point is too much? Is it famous because he plagiarized from other lores? It's more like Detective Conan, where central mystery is never addressed. A soap opera for weebs. 15 years reading for me. I feel like you got some other issues going on than just the names thing. I feel like, is it famous because he plagiarized from other lores? I don't think that's the case, because there's like a lot of One Piece's most famous characters are just One Piece specific characters, you know? Like Gold Roger, Don Quixote do Flamingo, Shanks, you know? Even stuff like Dracula Mihawk, people usually don't say his first name. Like, I almost never hear like, you have to remind me that his first name is Dracula. Most people just say Mihawk, you know? More, does that kid mascot character still in Kagurabachi or what? That character is almost never shows up now, so I'm good. You forgot armament? Armament, I just don't think is relevant now. Because it's just like, they're not going to use, like what difference does it, like, how am I supposed to gauge Kaido's Conqueror's Haki versus his armament? Like, characters just use Conqueror's coding now, you know? It was right after Loki beat Herald. Okay, so right after Loki beat Herald, if you guys remember, even if you guys remember, I went on streams basically saying that, like, this chapter has fucked with my power scaling, like, assumptions so much that I'm not gonna rank anything for a while. Like, if you guys remember, I just was just like, I don't even know how to rank this right now, so I literally just was like, I'm on essentially hiatus from like making any claims, basically, because this has thrown too much off. So I don't blame people if it was like a month ago or a month and a half ago or something like that. I'd say after this chapter, when we like recently we've seen, like, we saw what ridiculous stuff Ragnar could do. You know, as soon as Loki was freed, he like froze that giant Draugr, and then this last chapter we got the giant dragon. So to me, like, if there's like a post that just came out where people are saying he's below admirals and stuff like that, and Yonko, I'd be kind of shocked. Um, like, are people still saying that? Polestar, thanks for the 5. Anyway, love your videos. More interesting than One Piece for me, lol. Okay, I appreciate that. Also, OG Admirals, perfect counter to Loki. Hence, OG Admirals greater than Loki, greater than Yonko, greater Garp, greater than RB. What's RB? Am I stupid? Hence, OG Admirals greater than Loki, greater than Yonko, Garp. I don't know about that. I don't know what RB even means. Oh, speed? Yeah, let's do speed. Speed is good. Strength, speed, durability. So physical body, I guess we can cut physical body, right? Because it's just not, it's just like putting strength and durability and stuff twice, kind of. Red beard, that makes sense. Yeah, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. Let's get the stream likes up to 100. Is there anything else that we want to put? Attack potency is a good one. No, I think that'll, because I think we'll just have that as the combination of the other things, you know? Because, like, what does that mean then? Because, like, yeah, it's the cumulative things that would dictate their attack potency. Oh, Runbeard. Oh, I see. That's funny. I just got to commit to memory that RB is short for Runbeard. Yeah, I don't know what you guys have been seeing, but I personally haven't seen people putting if anything, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of Loki hype with a lot of people saying like Loki crazy, like top 3, top 2 all time or whatever. I'd say the one thing that the one big question mark with Loki is because he throws off so much of what people's prior assumptions were. I think the one big thing is if we didn't have the bit of information that it is stated that Shanks is the one who defeated Loki, I think people would be a lot faster to anoint him a lot higher in the general hierarchy, because as soon as you have the qualifying statement that Shanks is said to have defeated Loki, then now that basically, for most people, it's that hard caps him at Shanks. And now you get into what people's preconceived notions about Shanks' strength, like where Shanks falls, comes into play, right? So that's the one tricky thing. That's why I basically take the mentality of I don't know about Shanks at this point. I'm just going to set him aside. I think it's easier for me to go by the things that we know. We've at this point seen Kaido, Big Mom, etc. We know the old gen like Roger, Whitebeard, etc. are higher up. We know that Rock's Herald basically are roughly around there. We know Garp around that. I'm just going with all of the characters that we've seen a lot of and gotten a lot of information on at this point, right? So based on all of that, Loki should be above all those characters. Probably still below Emu, assumedly, right? That's basically it, right? Below Emu Joy Boy, but seemingly above Pirate King level characters, Yonko level characters, like Kaido, Big Mom. Yeah, those are the characters we have the data on, right? Characters that remain a mystery, like this. Here we go. Characters not allowed to insufficient information. Shanks, Dragon, Mihawk. Let's see, insufficient and controversial. Hold on, let me clarify this. Characters who are not allowed due to insufficient information and various controversial debates/speculation. Shanks, Dragon, Mihawk, Shamrock. Shamrock, yeah. I think that's fair. Oh, you know what? Let's say these are off. characters not allowed due to being too strong. Emu, Joy Boy. Whoops. Why is this not doing? Emu, Joy Boy. And then finally, we'll have some characters, characters. Oh wait, I don't know if you guys can even see this. Yeah, let's just make some space. Characters not allowed due to not seeing them fight. Garlic or Shamrock, Garling, etc. All right. There we go. Oh, wait. Dragon should fall under that. Dragon should really fall under that. Okay. Characters not allowed due to insufficient information and various controversial debates / speculation. Thanks to this, Miha. Okay. All right. I think that's good. Fuck it. Let's put Jarl in there. Jarl. I think Prime Jarl is really strong. All right. What else? We got, are there any other categories that we want to add? So, building a character to beat Loki. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, you know what? I feel like the rules should be in red. Here we go. Our rules. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna give ourselves one. We get 9 rolls, 9 spins of the wheel. Chat votes if we successfully beat Loki or not. One round of yeah. We'll do a few rounds of this. Because I want to restrict it in ways that it would be legitimately difficult for us to win. Oh shit, I'm blocking some of the rules. Okay. Here. Let me reformat one more time. The hell? There we go. Okay. Now everything should be good. Right? All right. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, and then when I get back, we will be beginning. All right, I'll be right back. 1 second. All right, all right, all right. Let's get into it. Wait, are we getting into it? Oh, fuck. This can has a dent in the bottom, which is going to make it impossible for me to set it down without worrying that it's going to fall over. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll figure it out. It'll be okay. Let's get the stream likes up to let's get stream likes up to 100 real quick. All right, all right. All right, let's get into it. Okay. How does Prime Thomas scale 2 years from now? He's the world's strongest creature. Okay. Mentality / dog factor. I don't know if we're adding that in. We already put in battle IQ. Because the thing is, Conqueror's Hockey, I think, already addresses, your mentality to some degree. Forgot to add race. Because the thing is, like, strength, speed, durability will already cover all of those things, I guess race matters because, like, if you're Lunarian, you get some extra boosts, right? You get... but then is the durability decided by Lunarian durability or, like, the character we pick's durability? Does that make sense? Like, having wings, so flight helps naturally. So flight helps. I guess swimming to some degree helps. Lunarians are really the race that really adds a lot here, right? Dog factors just Conqueror's Hockey? Yeah. Outside of Lunarians and Giants, it doesn't matter. Fishmen, too. Fishmen, it's like, we're not going to be fighting. We can specify the arena is on land. Okay, fine. Let's say arena. 9 spins of the wheel. Arena. What's a neutral arena? I don't know. God Valley. Is God Valley a neutral arena? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It should be... You could argue God Valley's too small for this battle. It needs to be an arena that's big enough that the place doesn't get destroyed. I mean, Elbap's a good arena, but Elbap's a tree, right? So it's like... What's a big-ass island that's so big it won't just be destroyed? Maybe Wano? Arena Wano. Yeah. Kevin Bukiel says, Morge, if Loki's already the top of all these categories, then how are you going to make a character to beat him? It's going to be difficult. But for example, if we pulled from Devil Fruits, like let's say we pulled Blackbeard, right? Well, then I think that counters Loki's Devil Fruits, because the Yami Yami no Mi should counter Loki's fruits, and then you still get the Guragur no Mi. So, for the record, like, if we pull Blackbeard, we get... If you pull... let me make it clear, right? So if we pull a character with multiple fruits, we get both those fruits. So for example, if we pulled Loki... No, Loki doesn't have two. Blackbeard is the only character that has 2 fruits, right? So we're hoping we pull Blackbeard, basically. We're hoping we pull Blackbeard, And I don't think Loki has the best Conqueror's Hockey ever. I think there's characters who have at least as good Conqueror's Hockey as him. It's just Loki's full package is the best. Dressrosa Coliseum is too small. Elbaf is a giant tree, so it's not helpful. If race mattered, 99% of the strongest characters wouldn't be vanilla humans, like Luffy, Zoro, Mihawk, Big Mom, Whitebeard. Yeah, I mean, like, race doesn't matter to that degree. It's just some races have, like, a solid leg up. Like, there's way more humans than there are giants. I'm not gonna add science. Yeah, do we add race or not? I think we're not gonna add race. I think we're not gonna add race. Um, yeah, most humans are fodder in the One Piece world. Yeah, like the floor is just way higher for giants, and the floor is even higher for Lunarians. You know? Yeah, let's just say the arena is Wano. Right, Wano's a nice big open land. A lot of fighting can happen there. All right, it just doesn't matter. Like armament just wouldn't even matter here. You know? Because like when Rox and Herald are having their big clash, who has stronger armament there? We don't even know, right? It just stops being. Once they started using Conqueror's coding, it just stopped being relevant, you know? Let's be specific. Um, yeah, I'll just say Conqueror's Haki, you know? Evasion Haki. Endurance, I could put down Endurance. I could put down Endurance. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right. Okay, now for characters, right? For characters, what we're gonna do is this is a little tricky. This is a little tricky. All right, because we need a quick, easy list. I want to pull from top 30 all time. Yeah, we'll do top 30 all time. Alive, I think, is too difficult. Um, Here, let me pull this real quick. This is something we had from before. Okay, and I'm just gonna prune it. Okay, so we're just gonna prune this list. All right, we're gonna get rid of Joy Boy and Emu, and maybe add some stuff. We're gonna get rid of Ryuma for sure. Um, yeah, not characters that we haven't really seen enough of. We're getting rid of this stuff. No Garling. Keep Akainu. Akainu gets his Marineford showings, not post-time skip hypothetical buffed Akainu stuff, okay? Really, we got no Shamrock. Kaido, Big Mom, Luffy. Orkiri, Shiki, Kong. Financial acumen, that's funny. Orkiri, Shiki, Kong. Venus Juro. Aokiji, Odin, Scopper, Mars, Kizaru, Blackbeard, Fujitora, Green Bull, Jupiter, Saturn, Herald. Okay, do we want... Okay, so, is this roster fair or unfair? This roster basically has every character that is confirmed Admiral level or higher. Do we want to make it harder for ourselves or easier? My vote is that we do a version with these 25 entries. No, my vote is that we do a version where we add in a bunch of characters. So we add in like Yonko First Mate type characters. So we expand it basically. So we throw in characters like, you know, Zoro, Yamato, King, Marco, Ben Beckman. Well, no Ben Beckman, but like, you know what I mean? Like we throw in a bunch of other characters. Or do we want the cutoff to be Admiral level characters? We can make it harder and harder and see if we can pull it off. What do you guys feel? No Kong? Kong, we need to see the rules. The rules: characters not allowed due to being characters not allowed due to not seeing them fight. You know. Remove big meme and run beard too weak. Whatever keeps you streaming for longer. We can do the we can do a version where we throw in first mates. Throwing up to Yonko second. Throwing up to Yonko too. See, I mean, like, that stuff, it just makes it harder, but not doable. Because, like, there's plenty of characters that have really good battle IQ or something. Or we could pull Katakuri's future sight and stuff like that, you know? He's saying that Kong is on your wheel. Oh, my bad. Here, let's really check this. Let's really scour things here. Kong, I almost want to remove Shiki. Because we don't actually really see Shiki fight. Like, we see him swinging his swords and stuff, but that's it, you know? Like, we don't see him in action against a strong character. The Garp versus Sengoku, the Garp Sengoku battle was off screen, right? You could argue that we could use the strong world feats, but then that makes Shiki look really bad, right? Kiji Odin. Yeah. So Kong's gone, Shiki's gone. See how it goes with this version if it seems too easy than redo? Is it more fun to do it like this and then yeah, let's do it like this and then make it harder as we go. Right? Isn't that better? Let's do it like this and then make it harder. Okay, so let's say round one. Are there any other characters who you all believe are quote-unquote Admiral level? Like demonstrably Admiral level that we still need to add? Katakuri's a future sight merchant. Yeah, but that's okay for this sort of thing because we just need to draw one attribute. So that's why I think adding in first mate level characters can to some degree work because first mate level characters can be strong in one, like if we drew, like even commanders, if we drew like some commanders, like we could probably say like, well, this character has really good battle IQ or something like that. You know, like if we just need one thing, then it's workable to some degree. King is Lunarian merchant? Yeah, but we could pull King for durability, you know? This stream is literally about making a composite merchant. Yeah, that's the point. Because in my opinion, like that is the point, right? Because in my opinion, Loki beats any other character on this list right now individually, right? Because we've removed Emu Joy Boy, we removed the question marks like, you know, Shanks, Dragon, Mihawk, etc. So these are all characters Loki should be above. Next chapter might disprove that. We don't know. But based on the things that seem to make sense so far, this should be true, right? Yeah, do we want to make it hard first? Or do we want to... Okay, let's say round one. Round one. Using Admiral plus characters only. All right, are we ready? Are we ready? Are we good with this? Are we just assuming that the character is human? Big debuff compared to Ancient Giant? I don't think so, though, because, like, Rox and Harold were even with just being... Like, at a certain point, what really matters is just the hockey trumps a lot of stuff. So, yeah, I think it's okay. All right, yeah, we'll do multiple rounds. All right, let's start with easier. Right? You want to go easiest to hardest. All right, so we get 9 spins. All right? If we can't do it with 9 spins, we might have to do it again. But let's see. All right, ready? All right, we ready to spin? I love spinning this wheel. I can see why gambling is addicting to people. All right, ready? Let's go. All right. So our first spin is... Oh, shit. All right, good start. I'm going to go rocks for... Yeah, I think hockey, I want to go rocks, right? Pretty straightforward to me. I don't know if we'll get a better roll for hockey. I mean, I guess you could argue Roger. right? Roger, Harold, but we could take rocks for weapon plus weapon skill as well. That also works. Yeah, kind of want to roll with rocks for the hockey, right? Conquers hockey. I can throw it to the people to vote. Let's get Streamlabs up to 100 real quick. Rocks. Battle IQ Dark Horse choice for rocks? Maybe. I don't know. All right. Yeah, we'll take him for Conquerors hockey. We'll do it. Let's do it. Rocks. All right. Solid first start. I shouldn't be surprised because like we filled it with Admiral level characters plus, so it should be doable, right? Let's close this. All right, let's roll again. Oh wait, I need to take rocks off the list. I'll take rocks off the list after this. Okay. Okay. All right, we got Saturn. We got Saturn. So we could use Saturn for durability, but the problem is like Loki will just destroy Saturn. Saturn is a very bad role because Saturn is probably the weakest character on this list. I view Saturn as like I personally view Saturn as like the cutoff point between like I think Yonko first mates as far as we know probably don't beat Saturn. This is largely because regeneration is so like he is strong. He's a Conqueror's Haki user. He's got a really good fruit, honestly speaking, and then he's got the regeneration going for him. But like, he's not like he might be a reroll. His fruit seems really good. Like it does so many things. It's just vague. It's like what allows one to get past the telekinesis, you know? We never really got that answered. If we roll Blackbeard now, we just win. That's actually very true. We really got to hold out for Blackbeard. Durability. So durability, like his durability is really good because like the God's Knights do have some of the best durability here. The God's Knight's durability that is actually pretty high. It's actually really high. But we know that Loki can get past it. But assuming the character is really strong, it would mean that Loki needs a clean hit to get past it. So do we want to use our reroll right now? Go for speed. Was Saturn that fast? He's kind of fast. Here, let's do the poll. What else would we pick him for? Durability, fruit, skip. Endurance due to regen. Endurance I'm counting more so as like as an individual thing. So what I'm defining endurance as is even if you take damage, how long can you keep going? Just like endurance I'm counting as irrespective of how much damage you take. All right, we're leaning towards skip. I think the durability is a good argument here, but we can do skip. All right, so we are skipping. So we've used our skip. So now we get no more skips. So Rocks is going off the list. Saturn is going off the list. All right, let's go. When we do this again, remind me to add Saturn back. Rocks I'll know to add back just because everybody that we pick will be added back. Oh, yes! All right. Oh my God, we got very lucky there. We got extremely lucky. We got very lucky. I almost feel dirty with how lucky we got because, like, I'm a believer that luck balances itself out over life. So, in my mind, like, if you get a little bit lucky with something like a random game or like a board game or something like that, then that means that you used up some of your luck for something that actually matters down the line, you know? So I actually dislike when we end up getting a little too lucky for certain things. But let's see. So we had 9 rolls and we're removing characters every roll, right? So like the chances of getting Blackbeard with each roll, it's not like crazy bad. So we got decently lucky, but not like crazy lucky, right? All right. I think now it's now we've got a very, very good shot. It's almost unfair. I think this is borderline unfair. But it's just not right because it's like, I don't know the other way to do it because Loki has 2 fruits. So even, like, no matter who we pull, unless we pulled Blackbeard, we can't beat him in terms of fruits, you know? So it's very difficult to do. I feel like if we run this back, we'll give ourselves 2 devil fruits. No, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Because otherwise it's too reliant on rolling Blackbeard to win. You know, I feel a little bit dirty with that. JWP, thanks for the 20. Hi, Morge. I'm on board with the red line being the Hellfire Serpent. My only issue is that it's too big. Even Loki would be like the size of an atom compared to it. Thoughts on how this issue could be resolved? Oda's terrible, terrible size scaling. I joke, but I think that is to some degree possible. Because, like, I don't think Loki would be like an atom compared to... So, like, here's the thing. Let's see. Like, because my assumption is that the red line doesn't have hockey and shit. So, let's see. If ultimately the size differential is something like this, right? Like I think Loki is supposed to be small next to the red line, but I think he's supposed to be small. Like, imagine this is Loki in dragon form. Okay, Okay, because in human form or giant form, he could never be this size, right? But if Loki in dragon form is maybe like this size, and then Jormungandr's like way bigger, I think in Oda's mind that's still a fair fight, you know? So I think Oda he likes the idea of protagonists being way smaller than the antagonists in their big battles. So the fact that he's making Loki so big, if anything, encourages in my mind that that the Hellfire Serpent is going to be like absurdly big, you know? Because in this case, Loki is the protagonist, and therefore his opponent needs to be like fucking stupidly big, you know? So that's just a thought. Yeah, that's just a thought. I think the sizing can work. All right. So we got Blackbeard. I think that this is close to, I wouldn't say a done deal, but I think that we should, as long as we don't fuck up really bad with the rest of our rolls, we should be able to coast to victory. Oh, I can remove as we go. All right, so Blackbeard should be off the list now, right? All right, there we go. All right. Let's just round this out. We're going to make this harder on ourselves next round. Or we might do a restriction like you can only pick 1 devil fruit. Rayleigh. Really? I think I might take Rayleigh. We could take Rayleigh Battle IQ. We could take Rayleigh Observation Hockey. You know? What do we feel like for Rayleigh? I think Rayleigh's... I mean, keep in mind, old Rayleigh was basically keeping up speed-wise with Kizaru. So we can assume that his future sight is very, very good, right? He's also shown to be very fast, even at an old age, right? Like catching up to Kizaru. I think Rayleigh's a nicely well-rounded character for a lot of different options here, right? So Let's do here. Here we go. Rayleigh, what do we want? Do we want battle IQ? Do we want future sight? Do we want speed? Because remember, even if we roll a character like Kizaru, we don't get Kizaru's speed, right? These are all because Kizaru's speed is part of his Devil Fruit, and we're not getting Kizaru's Devil Fruit, so it's their base speed. So as far as I know, I think Rayleigh is one of the fastest base speed characters that we have. I mean, that might be an exaggeration, but there's nothing to suggest that characters are really that much faster than him, you know? Battle IQ, future sight, base speed, weapon, plus weapon skill. I don't think we're skipping Rayleigh. I think we're going to keep Rayleigh. Oh, we can't skip Rayleigh. We're out of skips. Right, we're out of skips. Conqueror's Hockey isn't Shanks. We gotta roll. We only get to work with what we roll for. We gotta live by the rolls. All right, people are leaning battle IQ for Rayleigh. Yeah, I'm gonna go Rayleigh for battle IQ. I'm gonna go Rayleigh for battle IQ because looking at the rest of these options, I'm not seeing a bunch of geniuses. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not... Supposedly Sengoku's a fucking mastermind. I don't think I saw it. But there's a difference between strategy overall versus, like, battle IQ, which is more, like, in the spur of the moment. I think Rayleigh's a really good pick for battle IQ. Pick for battle IQ. Always very level-headed. I think Gabon's a good pick for that as well. Fast decision-making, fast analysis. I think Rayleigh and Gabon can't go wrong with those two, but we're going to go Rayleigh. I think, yeah. All right, let's go again. I love spinning this wheel. Shit. Kizaru is not that useful here. He is just not that useful here. He's not that useful. I mean, I'm of the opinion that all the original trio of admirals had future sight because you can see them all in the Marine Ford arc using doing the same thing Katakuri does, where they're hit by a hockey user, but they seem to have moved their body before they get hit. But I don't think we can use that reasoning here. This might sound crazy, but I think Kizaru for strength wouldn't be a bad pick. I think... No. It would be a bad pick. I don't know where we put him. We don't get his speed because his speed is due to his fruit. We don't have his fruit. This is why we needed armament hockey? No, because it's not that... The idea is not that you just get some freebie rolls, you know? Strength because it's not important? Yeah, we could just take Kizaru for strength. I think that's fair. Take Kizaru for strength. Durability, he barely got visually damaged by White Star Gun. I think he got knocked out by White Star Gun. Not knocked out, but he literally said, I'm seeing stars, right? That's not good, right? And that, like, I know people are like, well, Kizaru was throwing the fight or whatever. I don't want to get into that part. Just in terms of could he have gotten back up sooner? Yes. Did that move actually hurt him really bad? Yes. Because he says that in his internal monologue. In his internal monologue, he's saying that, like, it's, depending on the translation, it's either this isn't good, or, like, this is really bad, or I'm seeing stars. So that really did hurt him, you know? That's not good. Because if White Star Gun can do that, then fucking Loki's attacks are going to be that's not good. Kizaru is known for his defense among the three admirals. Yes, but that accounts for armament hockey, like hockey and stuff like that. Because the idea is that that's what he taught Sentomaru. That's why Sentomaru's got the classic like this sort of guard. We could do strength just because it's like it doesn't matter, right? So, yeah, the thing with I don't want to throw away durability. I just don't think Kizaru's strengths are durability or endurance. I don't think anything suggests that. I personally believe that Kizaru has future sight. I think all three OG admirals showed future sight in Marine Forward. We just didn't know what that was yet. But it's too. I think that's too controversial. So we have to go Kizaru for strength. Okay. Strength really doesn't matter. I think it can just be a plus, but it kind of also does matter. Wait, you know what? Yeah, we're just not allowed to use Kizaru for speed. Durability and endurance, it's just throwing it away. Observation hockey, I personally think that he has future sight, but I just don't know. Like, we can't prove that. Well, you can't get all perfect rolls, right? So we're gifted with Blackbeard. Jupiter. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. We already used up strength, though. Okay. Herald is less useful to us now, right? But we can take... I'm going to take Herald for weapon plus weapon skill, right? Because the only... Who else... It's either, at this point, it's just... For weapon and weapon skill, you would just want either Herald or Roger. You could take Kaido or Big Mom. Big Mom's got some good... Does she have good weapons? Not really good weapons. Like Napoleon's whatever. Right? But you could take... Yeah. Like, I think... Harold's about as good as it gets for pure weapon user, right? It's Roger, Harold, you could argue Whitebeard, whatever. Ancient Giant durability. Come on, like weapon plus weapon skill though. Like that's basically like rocks plus hair. I don't know. I think that's really good. Durability, I want someone with regen. I want the regen. I also think someone like Warcury could be better for durability. I mean, durability is really good. Normal Herald. Whitebeard could be good for weapons as well. I just assume he's slightly less good than like a Roger or a Rox or a Herald, because Whitebeard wasn't pure weapons user. He gets his weapon back. It doesn't stay in Jarl's head. Honestly, who would we pick for speed? I think there's characters that are fast. Like, Garp fucking... Like, did you see when Garp... I mean, Aokiji fans will be upset, but, like, Garp fucking, like, was, like, blitzed through, like, all of Hachinosu in, like, 0.5 seconds, you know? Like, and Aokiji... Like, he fucking blitzed Aokiji. He was, like, way faster. I think just picking a character like... You know, Roger or someone like is fine for speed, you know? Look, part of the reason I don't think that durability will go well for Herald is because, like, Herald with the amp still got fucked up by Loki, right? Like, with the regeneration got fucked up by Loki, right? So Herald with no regeneration, which is what we'd have right now, I just don't view that as a good pick against Loki. I would rather have the weapon plus weapon skill, you know? Odin is good for weapons, but he's not going to be as good as Herald. Like, if Herald and Odin had a duel, Herald would just win. Here, I'll throw it to you guys as a poll, but I just don't think... I think there's better character... I think characters with regeneration are just inherently better durability than characters without regeneration. And we've got a lot of regeneration characters here. I'm also being kind of stupid because I forgot with Warcury, if we hold out for durability for Warcury, he doesn't get the boar form, right? So I should have just taken Saturn for the durability. I think anyone with the regeneration has better durability than Herald. This is not Holy Knight Herald. This is not Holy Knight Herald. This is normal Herald. If characters with regen are better, why did we skip Saturn, lol? I was being dumb. I didn't think the full thing through. Because I was like, oh, there's like, we get Warcury and stuff like that, but that's tied to the fruit, right? So we should have just taken, kind of just got to pray on getting a Holy Knight character again. I'm going to make executive decision. I'm going weapon plus weapon skill. No. Okay, let me look at the odds real quick. Let me look at the odds. So I think if we remove Herald, right, then characters that would be good for durability would pretty much just be Kaido, Big Mom. Like Kaido and Big Mom, I think have better durability than Herald. I might be wrong. Like better base durability. Kaido, Big Mom, and then we got 4 God's Knights. You know. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. We can go Herald for durability. Fine, we'll go Herald for durability. I just don't know if Herald's durability is all that. And then like a really good weapons user. I don't know if we're getting another. I guess the thing is, I'm confident we'll get another durable character. I don't know if we'll get like a weapon user at that level. You know. I'm gonna go executive decision. I'll do weapon plus weapon skill. I'll go Herald. We'll gamble on that. All right. Sorry guys. Sorry y'all. All right. Give me someone with regen. I might have screwed us over. Okay. All right. We're fine. Oh no. Not Roger. No! I was immediately proven wrong because we could have gone Roger for the weapons. No. No, now I gotta waste Roger on something dumb. I'm going Roger for endurance. Because Roger went, like, he fought with Whitebeard all night, right? Fuck. No. No, we could have gotten Roger for the weapons, Herald for the durability. I fucked us over. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. Roger for endurance. Yeah, I'm doing Roger for endurance. Doesn't Roger have good speed? We can assume Roger has really good speed. We've technically never seen it, but we could assume that he's got really good speed. What a waste of Roger. That is a shame. Luffy. Warcury. Okay, we get the durability. We get Warcury. He doesn't get his boar form, but he gets the regen. So that's good. So that's easy. Saved ourselves a little bit there. Okay, Garp. Garp speed. That is perfect. Garp is stupidly fast even right now. Just a quick reminder for those who've forgotten, Garp speed. What would it be, like 1086, 1087. Yeah. Look at this. Okay. Wait, did he already do it? Okay, yeah. I'm saying it out of concern. This is Garp's speed, right? This is like Aokiji in his prime. And I know people will be like, Aokiji was holding back and stuff like that. That's fine. But even if you're holding back, this is just like straight up his reaction, right? This is like, he is shocked by Garp's speed, right? That's got nothing to do with whether you're holding back or not. You're still shocked by the speed, right? So, speed. Garp is like stupidly fast. This is Garp. This is Garp's speed, right? Like, he's stupidly fast. Like, too fast for even an admiral who probably has future sight to still be surprised by, yada yada. Like, Garp is stupidly fast. Garp is a great character to get for speed. I think that we're in actually a really good spot right now. We just need a solid observation hockey user here. We should have used observation hockey earlier. I hope we get a good observation hockey user. All right. Give me an observation hockey user, a future sight user. Loki doesn't have confirmed. Oh, yeah. Give me Scott. Damn it. Fucking Mars. All right. God damn it. All right. It's not perfect, but I think we beat Loki here. I think we beat Loki. So it's a Conqueror's Hockey user. I think Rocks and Loki you can debate, but like I think the Conqueror's Hockey is on par. Devil Fruits, I think we actually got the advantage because Yami Yami no Mi should counter Loki's fruits, and then we've also got the Guru Guru no Mi. You've got Herald, like you basically got a combination of Rocks and Herald in terms of like offense, plus the Guru Guru no Mi. Plus we're countering Loki's fruit. We're definitely fucking smarter than Loki. Strength, obviously Loki's stronger, but it doesn't really matter. Speed, I think we've got Loki beat. Garp is really fast. Durability, we have regen. Loki doesn't have regen. Endurance, we got Roger. I think the areas which are shifty are obviously observation hockey, but Loki has never shown himself to be like a great observation hockey user, at least at the moment. So I think he's probably got better observation hockey than us, but I think for most other things, we're good. I think we win. Yeah, make this harder, add more characters. I'll make it harder. I'll add some more characters. But this was still tight. I honestly think if we didn't get Blackbeard, we arguably lose, you know? So I kind of want to shift it to we get 2 Devil Fruits, because Loki gets 2 Devil Fruits. So I can add more characters, but we get multiple fruits if that's the case. Tiptiu says, why do people think Admirals throw in every fight? Because it's just how Admiral fans work. Because the thing that I'll always say with the Admirals is like, back in pre-time skip, like you fell into 2 camps. Either you thought that the Yonko are above Admirals or the Admirals and Yonko are equal. I think during that time, there was definitely an argument. But post-time skip, we've learned so much more, and every new piece of information has basically established that Yonko are stronger than Admirals on average because we've spent all of post-time skip learning about hockey, and it being made very, very clear that Conqueror's Hockey is the most important thing, advanced Conqueror's Hockey, and that's like the differentiating factor, right? So essentially post-time skip establishes, like, before if it's like Marineford era, then it's fine if you're like, I've got Admiral agenda because these Admirals have cool Devil Fruits and yada yada, and Yonko, we don't know everything they can do, but post-time skip, every single arc we've learned more and more about what actually makes one the strongest. We've learned that Conqueror's Hockey, etc., is the most important thing. That's not debatable in the story. The story makes that very clear. So it's kind of like the story has pretty much told us over and over, Admirals on average are not as strong as Yonko level characters, but people have held on to that agenda for so long that I think Admiral fans like have to uphold it. Basically, like they've dug themselves too deep, so like they need to keep arguing. Therefore, like because you could play the game if you want for like many One Piece fights of like psychoanalyze why, you know, this character actually lost to this character, yada yada. With Admiral fans, like it's really just with Admirals that every fight has to be analyzed, which is like no, Admiral didn't win here. But, you know, it's because fucking this reason or that reason and like a million caveats are added. People don't usually do that for other fights, you know? That's not to say that some of the arguments aren't valid. Like, I agree that Kizaru obviously was torn up about the Vegapunk situation, and he did do little things to try and help facilitate Luffy doing better, right? But I'm saying overall, what you can observe is that Admiral fans are always having to make a lot of reasons. Like, when you're having to play defense all the time, and like arc after arc having to explain like why this showing technically doesn't count or that showing doesn't count, etc., maybe at the end of the day it's like, okay, maybe it's like a losing cause, you know? Like, maybe at the end of the day there's not going to be a point in time in the story where it's shown that Admirals just kicked the Yonko's ass or something. So I don't know. Akainu is the one person I say is the exception, is because I think there's potential that he unlocked Conqueror's Haki over the time skip, because narrative role suggests that he is still supposed to be a prominent opponent for Luffy down the line, which can't happen unless he's got the Conqueror's Haki, right? But that kind of would make him the exception that proves the rule that no Conqueror's Haki, no Yonko level, you know? All right. All right. Since it's Ragnar, not Loki, who has the devil fruit. Yeah, I think the thing is that's why it's tricky, because we can do weapon plus weapon skill, but at the end of the day, there's no other weapon like Ragnar, right? Ragnar is basically what people joked that Enma was. The only reason I get is Loki Awakening. I think Loki Awakening is actually an okay thing to hold on to, because it is the ace up the Admiral's sleeve, you know? And it could be really, really good, you know? I think that Loki Awakening is a fair thing to hold on to, but I would be more cool with it if Admiral fans just kept their argument to that, rather than trying to gaslight others into not believing their eyes when they see, okay, like, you know, like Aokiji's kind of getting his ass kicked by Garp in every single panel, you know? Like, if you want to argue that he'd win with Logia Awakening, then that's a separate argument, right? Then use that argument. All right. We're going to do this again. We're going to run this again. Let me add the characters that we got here. Would you guys agree that, like, I think this character beats Loki, but I think that's because this character hard counters Loki, you know? Because in terms of just straight fighting ability between Rox and Herald, Roger level endurance, plus regeneration, plus Garp speed, like, this character should be at least as strong as Loki, like Loki's base level. And then you got the Yami Yami no Mi to counter Loki's fruits, but also the Guru Guru no Mi to, like, put you over the top. So I think that this character wins, you know? And then the character is smarter than Loki. So I think this character should win. I think our hypothetical character should win. So let's move on to round 2. Round 2. Using Yonko first mate plus characters. We'll do our usual. We'll do strength, speed, durability, endurance, Conqueror's Haki. I'll say Devil Fruit 1 and Devil Fruit 2. I'm going to give us 2 fruits. I think that's fair because Loki essentially has 2 fruits. Weapon plus weapon skill, battle IQ. And we just made it harder for ourselves, right? And I'm now going to give us, we should have 9 rolls, right, to cover everything. So I'm now going to give us 11 rolls. We get 2 redos. 2 redos, I think, is fair, because we're really opening up the bracket here, right? So first, let's add back in everyone here. Kizaru, Garp, Warkiri. Kizaru, Garp, Warkiri. We also have to make sure we don't forget to add in Saturn. Roger, Rox, Mars. Oh, I think Mars should still be in here. Roger, Rox, Blackbeard, Herald, Rayleigh. Okay, I gotta pee again real quick. I'll be right back. All right, all right. Why is Mihawk not there? See the rules. The rules say... Oh, hold on. Move the rules down. I'm going to say we get 11 spins of the wheel now, so we get 2 redos. And the rules explain why Mihawk and Shanks are not allowed. The reason Mihawk and Shanks are not allowed is because, for example, like, I'm preferring to use characters that we've seen a sufficient amount of showings of them in fights with other top tier characters, because let's say for Conquer, like, let's say for weapons and weapon skill we pulled Mihawk, okay? A lot of people would be of the opinion, okay, we win right there. We've got Mihawk beats Loki, so right there it's a done deal, right? So you got people who just feel like automatically that's a win. Or let's say we got Shanks for Conqueror's Haki. A lot of people might just feel like, well, Shanks beats Loki, because that's what we were told. Therefore, the thing just ends right there, right? To me, until we get some clarification on how Shanks versus Loki went down, and then therefore by extension how Mihawk versus Loki would go down, I'm not going to include those two, right? I want to see evidence, right? On the other hand, we've gotten a lot. We've gotten to see plenty of Roger, Garp, Rox, Herald, etc. You can argue were they in their primes at certain points or whatever, but we've seen them enough, right? We've seen them enough, you know. If you think God Valley Roger probably wasn't quite as prime, but just take that and scale it up a little bit to the Roger we saw in Odin's flashback. Like, we get the general idea, you know? Okay. You got to put observation Haki. Oh, my bad. Conqueror's Haki. Observation Haki. All right. I like this. Let's just shorten it to make it a little cleaner. Yeah, I'm giving us 2 devil fruits because I don't want us to just hinge everything on having to pull Blackbeard. That's too hard. Okay, I'm going to put some names here. All right? We're adding some names. We're going to add Zoro, Sanji. I'm just going to go crew by crew. I'm going to do all characters that are arguably Yonko first mate level. That still fit the other rules, right? So no Ben Beckman, because we haven't seen him, right? Sanji, you can say he's not first mate level, but I think a lot of people would argue him for that, right? Zoro, Sanji, Marco, Yamato, Katakuri, King, of course. Do we put Magellan? I don't even know how people rate Magellan. Magellan arguably, right? We said arguably counts. Magellan, fucking Dory, Brogy. This should be easier. Boa Hancock. Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing a lot of characters. I don't think Queen's arguably Yonko first mate. I think Whitebeard's top 3 to 4 are Yonko first mate level. I mean, you can make that argument. They're all really strong. Shiryu. Gotta put fucking Shiryu in here. God help us if we roll Shiryu. I got Lucci. Oh, Sabo. Duh. Sabo. I got Katakuri in there. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm giving us... Oh, wait, my bad. Did I do it wrong here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, so last time I did the math wrong. Basically, I said we get 1 redo, right? We get 1 redo. I'll make it clear. We get 2 redos. Oh, fuck. We get 2 redos. All right. Here, let's just move the whole thing down. Yeah. Oh, wait, we didn't vote. I forgot. Do we vote? We got to vote. Round 1. Did we beat Loki? Yes, no. Right? So the case I'll make is very simple. If you just look at base, right? The areas where Loki has us gapped are strength, which is not that important. And maybe observation. Probably observation, right? Strength and observation. But everything else, like, we should be able to go toe-to-toe. We've got, like, top-tier Conqueror's Haki. We've got a top-tier sword user in Herald, right? We're smarter than Loki. I think we're faster than Loki with Garp's speed. We have regeneration. We have Roger-level endurance, right? So, like, we're pretty much got top-tier base stats. And then I think we win the Devil Fruit fight. Because we got the Yami Yami Numi to counter his fruits, but then we also have the Gura Gura Numi to just, like, beat him down. So I think we got him, you know? I think we got him. But I'll leave it up to you guys. I don't see the argument for Loki here. I don't see the argument for Loki, personally. I think round 2 is where it'll get tricky. Stussy Yonko 1 level, she defeated Lucci quite easily. But Stussy herself says that she couldn't have beaten Lucci if he was on guard. Law and Kid. Duh. Fuck. Sorry, guys. Man, I must really dislike those characters. Law, Kid. With Kizaru's strength? But strength just doesn't really matter that much, you know? Like, strength, like, Luffy's physical strength didn't change one iota, and he went from, like, literally losing physical clashes with Ulti to, like, 1 hour later being able to split the sky with Kaido. So the physical strength doesn't really make a difference. You know? Like, if anything, base Luffy's physical strength might be comparable to base Kizaru's physical strength, for all we know. I got Boa Hancock in there. People are saying Kuma. I don't know about Kuma. I did say arguable characters, but, like, I feel like we need... Yeah, because it opens the door to Crocodile as well, right? Like, Crocodile, we haven't seen him post-time skip, so I'm going to say he has no feats, you know? Because otherwise we have to go by pre-time skip Crocodile, and he sucks. Doflamingo, I don't think, is arguably Yonko first mate level, unless you think he was really, 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 really ridiculously nerfed against Luffy. I think we already got Marco. We got Marco. Marco's right here. I think we're good. I don't think I see anything else, really. All right, I'm going to roll. People are saying Don Chinjiao. Ooh, Don Chinjiao. Realistically, Prime Don Chinjiao should actually be... He should be in there. Fuck it. We'll put in Prime Don Chinjiao. I just don't know how to even scale him at all. He didn't have, like, a Conqueror's Haki clash with Garp, so I don't think he has Conqueror's Haki coding. But I think he's supposed to be technically in here. I'm not putting in Chinja. I think too little data on Chinja. All right? We're rolling. Ready? You all ready? We're going to roll. If I see something that's, like, a really egregious miss, then, we completely forgot about it, then we'll consider that. All right, we get 2 redos, right? 2 redos. Jupiter, I'm taking Jupiter for durability. Easy pick. Don't want anything else from this man. Yeah. There's no combination with Yonko 1s to beat Loki, says Pasty Cash. No, it's everybody Yonko 1 plus. If we did just Yonko 1s, I literally don't think it would. I think there's no chance, right? Like, to put it this way, if we did just Yonko 1s, I think it would be hard-pressed to beat base Loki, you know? I mean, it's doable, especially if we get 2 Devil Fruits, but it would just be really hard. Tuptio, thanks for the 2. Second Devil Fruit should be Devil Fruit for your weapon since Ragnar. Yeah, you could imagine that, but I think it wouldn't really change the usage that much, right? We could, sure, let's do that. Devil Fruit, let's say Devil Fruit weapon. Let's say weapon Devil Fruit. I think that's fair. It makes it more exact. We got Rayleigh again. We got Rayleigh again. I mean, I'm down to run it again. Like, we'll give Rayleigh, yeah, we'll do Battle IQ Rayleigh. I'm down to run that again. I think there's very few characters I would, change it. We did find ourselves fucked with observation hockey, though, last time. So do we want to maybe, yeah, we did find ourselves fucked with observation. So do we want to take that into account? Because, like, there's not that many characters that actually have future sight. But there are, like, I think Battle IQ... I think having the future sight is important. I don't think there's that many characters that have confirmed future sight. How confirmed does it need to be? Because, like, Roger... I feel like with Roger, you could just assume that he has future sight, right? Like, I would take Roger's observation hockey, you know? Because, like, fucking Rayleigh and Gabon both have it. The thing is, like, with Battle IQ, we don't need a genius to beat Loki, because I don't think Loki's Battle IQ is amazing, right? So you kind of just want Loki's level or up. So I think we could get a lot of characters, whereas observation, I think having the future sight's important. I'm going to give Rayleigh the observation. Yeah, I'm going to give Rayleigh the observation. Okay, so Tong Tapu says Katakuri's observation, King's durability, Marco's Devil Fruit for the first one, Law's Devil Fruit for the second one. Sanji's speed, Gabon's Conquerors is still insane. We can't use Gabon's Conquerors if we did Yonko First Mate, because, like, Prime Gabon is obviously above that level. We could use, like, Zoro. We could use Zoro. Yeah. Are we good with Rayleigh for future sight? Why are Gorosei auto durability lol? Because they have regeneration, right? It's just better to have regeneration than no regeneration, you know? Yeah. All right. I think we're gonna move on. We haven't had to do any skips yet. All right, let's roll. Oh, okay. All right, I like it. Fuck, we could use Fujitora for observation. I feel like, I mean, Fujitora is not confirmed future sight, but his observation we know overall is like top tier. I think we could use Fujitora for Battle IQ. I want to hold out for somebody else for Devil Fruit. We could use Fujitora for Battle IQ, Devil Fruit. He's physically quite strong, actually. Like, he could just physically block Luffy's Gear 3 attacks without, like, too much trouble. He's physically quite strong. Again, strength is one of those that you can kind of get away with. I think there's better weapons users for sure. Weapon plus weapon skill? No, because Fujitora doesn't have, like, advanced hockey skills with the weapon, you know? Because just getting Conqueror's Hockey alone, Conqueror's Hockey coding alone, doesn't mean that translates to your weapon. Because, like, what if we got Garp for Conqueror's coding, right? You would rather have Garp plus, like, with weapon skill, just assume that whatever a character can do with the weapon, like, they are allowed to do that, all right? So I would not put him at the top for weapon skill, you know? Because he's not a Conqueror's Hockey user. I don't think that... Gravity is a very powerful Devil Fruit. I don't know what I'm holding out for. It is one of the strongest Devil Fruits. He lifted an island of rubble. I just don't think meteors are going to do jack shit to Loki. We can consider it. I don't think meteors are going to do anything to Loki. Like, I think they will bounce off of him like pebbles. Fujitora doesn't summon, like, Madara-sized meteors. They're very small. And they're not that hard to deal with. Doflamingo took care of meteors without a problem, you know? Here, I'll give the options, because Fujitora is not a bad pull. It's just where do we place him? The observation was the really good pick, right? I think Battle IQ is the easy option if we don't want to be too risky. I'm not putting him for weapons. It just doesn't make sense. Strength is like whatever. Strength, it's like you could definitely get a better pull for sure, but it also just doesn't matter too much, I think, in the grand scheme of things. And then Devil Fruit slash Weapon Devil Fruit. We can pick one of the two. Oda made the gravity powers weaker than other authors. This is one big thing that I think people don't recognize when it comes to One Piece power scaling. It is inherently capped by the setting, and the setting is islands. That's the problem. The setting is islands. So you cannot have fruits that are... You cannot have the character's strength get too far out of the realm of, like, being able to destroy something the size of an island, because then you can't have fights. Like, you can't have arenas, you know? So that's the inherent issue with it, you know? That's why, like, right now, we're introducing... When Whitebeard was at Marineford using the Gura no Mi and everything, like, that was a situation where the entire island, like, their entire battlefield could have just been erased, and so naturally you had to very severely nerf Whitebeard. He couldn't go all out, like he would have in his prime or whatever, right? That's why Loki is now being finally introduced as, like, this actual, like, clearly above island level threat. It works because right now we are in Elbaf, which in itself is, like, a giant-sized island. It's like a mega island, right? But you couldn't have Loki running around on Dressrosa. It wouldn't work. The island would just be devastated, right? That's why even the one time we actually got to see, you know, the older generation go all out in a fight, the island sunk at the end of it. So One Piece power scaling is inherently pretty capped. You can't pull down Madara-sized meteors or, like, Gremmy from Bleach-sized meteors. Otherwise, the arc ends, you know? Fujitora's meteors are very small and cute. Okay, we will do... I got a bad feeling about doing the weapon. I just don't think his weapon fruit is that good. Anti-Fuji gravity distort and, like, destroy the mountains? No, but that's the thing. Like, we've seen Fujitora's anti-gravity move. It, like, destroyed some buildings. Like, we saw it against Sabo. It's not that strong. Fujitora versus Sabo chapter. What chapter does this happen? Chapter 751. Is this the main battle of the chapter? Oops. I feel like it happens later. Where does their fight continue? Well, I mean, like, here's an example panel, right? Oh, what the hell? Oh my god, this is like a super complicated Reddit post. Oh my god. Why can't I just find the page? Oh my god. Where the hell? Okay, whatever. Let's just look at this, right? So, like, this is, like, Fujitora using some of his gravity as a force. It's just not very good. Like, it's good for its time. Like, for its period of time, this is good. But I'm not having our guy... First of all, we need a name for this character. Character name Konohamaru. All right? I'm not having Konohamaru go out and fight Ragnar with this level of firepower. It's just, I don't think we're going to do well. Fuji wasn't really trying to hurt Sabo, in my opinion. Sabo's made of fire, so this wouldn't hurt him regardless. So I don't think, like, if Fujitora, he's got no reason to hold back on this gravity attack. It's literally irrelevant. It's just for show, right? The thing is, Fujitora has shown other moves like that. He does it against Luffy later on, a similar sideways gravity move. We have to go with what we've seen, right? So, like, I don't think he's got gravity attacks that are gonna do shit against Ragnar, personally. I just don't feel comfortable because the meteors I don't think are gonna do jack shit against the dragon form. Even dropping a bunch of rubble, I just don't think rocks are gonna do that much. Like, put it this way, like, is picking up Avalo Pizarro and dropping him gonna do that much? I don't think so. Fuji hold back for citizens? Sure, but like we need the actual feats then that give us something to go off for like how much damage Fujitora can really do here. What are we picking then? I would rather just go Battle IQ as the safe option. I think we can get a better Devil Fruit, personally. I think we can get a better Devil Fruit. He does add flight. Yeah, this is hard. This is hard. Okay, I will go with you guys. I'll go with you guys, but then I won't feel bad if we don't make it, all right? Fujitora. I'll go with what you guys said. I made the arguments, but you know what? You guys could pick. You guys could pick. It's off my hands now. I'll try and have us salvage this somehow. Just don't know if the gravity fruit... The thing is, yeah... We only get so many chances to pick some good devil fruits. Ah, shit. This is so sad. Because Marco's like, he's solid, you know? He's good. I'm not taking Marco's fruit, though. I think we need some heavy... I'll take Marco for... Marco's either a skip or we battle IQ. Skip or a battle IQ. Marco, skip, battle IQ. Just take his fruit. I don't think Marco's fruit's going to cut it against Loki's fruit. Like, I think endurance. Has Marco shown really good endurance? His fruit, he doesn't get his fruit. We're not counting his fruit. His fruit does not factor into the endurance. I'm not taking his fruit. His fruit's not good enough. His fruit's not cutting it. I don't know what fruit we're rolling for, but I want at least Kizaru's fruit or better. I'm going to take him for Battle IQ just so we can hold the skips. I'm gonna take him for Battle IQ so we can save the skips for when we need him. All right? This is a strategic call. Strategic call. I don't think we're beating Loki. I think it's not happening. Kind of Sengoku. What do I make of this? What do I make of this? I'm not taking Sengoku's fruit. I'm going to take Sengoku for strength. He held down Garp. I'm taking Sengoku for strength. He held down Garp. He held down Garp. Sengoku is actually, Loki, a pretty good strength pick. So we still got our two redos. Sengoku is actually one of the better strength picks that we could have pulled out of this whole list. Buddha strength? He doesn't get the Buddha form. Oh, Blackbeard. All right, excellent, excellent. All right, excellent. Good shit, good shit, good shit, good shit. Okay, Blackbeard. Fuck, we gotta go fruit for this, right? We gotta go fruit. I mean, there's nothing else. So we go Yami Yami no Mi. We only get to pick one fruit. He doesn't get two fruits. Right? That's unfair. We get Yami Yami no Mi. All right, Blackbeard, specification, Yami. Yami only, right? Blackbeard fruit plus any hockey, top tier hockey wins, honestly. Yeah, yeah. So I'm making it more fair. I'm saying only Yami Yami no Mi. So this is good. All right. We could almost remove Blackbeard to make it more fair, but you know, it's part of what it is. Ooh, Kizaru. Fuck. Now I don't even know what to do with him. I might give Kizaru a skip. Yeah, that'll be a skip. All right, so we used one of our skips. We're using one of our skips on Kizaru, right? Because right now we speed, endurance, conquerors. Yeah, I'm going to give Kizaru a skip. Give me a Conqueror's Haki user. Like a strong Conqueror's Haki user. Not that one. That one. All right. Let's give ourselves Gold Roger right here. Let's give ourselves Gold Roger. We could use him for weapon and weapon skill, but I think it's, I don't know. All right. Good stuff. We've still got one skip to go to. I think we're gonna be able to pull this off. I think we'll be good. Blackbeard is an auto win. It is what it is. Odin, I'm taking for, yeah, this character's rounding himself out pretty well. Odin could also be endurance. Shit. Odin could also be endurance. Let me ask you guys. Odin. The thing is, One Piece has got a lot of high endurance characters, so I think we're not fucked if we... I don't think we're fucked, you know? This guy's broken. Okay, yeah, we'll go weapon and weapon skill. I guess just don't overcomplicate it. Odin's just got that whole pot boiling thing. So it's tempting. I'll take Luffy for... No! Oh! I'll take Venus Jura for speed. I imagine he's still fast. Because, like, you know, he's a swordsman. Like, he's a swordsman that seems to rely on speed, much like Brook. I think even without his Devil Fruit, he's probably pretty fast. I'll just do... Everything goes without saying for base, but just like as an added reminder for Venus Jura. I think he's still a fast character. He's most likely still a fast character, right? Even without the, like, he's not like as fast as he is with the fruit, but he likely is still a fast character. I wouldn't be surprised if Venus Jura is faster than base Loki and running. All right, and we still got one redo. Oh, Katakuri. We could have used you. Endurance. Katakuri's not good for endurance, though. Because he actually went down without that much... He fought for a long time, but he went down with minimal damage. I think that's actually a... I think Katakuri would not... Yeah, that's the problem. The whole point... Like, Luffy's only edge in that fight was he could take, like, 10 times the endurance. All right. So this is our last skip. Katakuri feels like a character that should have really strong endurance, because what we remember... He stabbed himself, though. I forgot. He has good endurance. He actually has good endurance. He's not a true glass cannon. Because, like, he did do a shit ton of damage to Luffy, but then he also made sure to stab himself. And then Luffy started doing more damage to him as well. He's just got nowhere near Luffy's level of endurance, you know? But it's not right to say that Katakuri's, like, weak in terms of endurance. he's not losing in one hit. He did actually, like, the stabbing himself thing. I think people forget that. All right. Damn. I think he's getting a bad rep. I think he's still got really good endurance compared to the majority of characters, but, um, you know, we could pull someone better, obviously. That is the most perfect endurance pick you could ever hope for. This is a strong character. Konohamaru is very strong. Sengoku, strength. Venus Juro base, yeah, I think really good. Regeneration, Luffy level endurance. I imagine that's at least as good as Loki's, if not better. Conquerors, obviously tippy top tier. Observation, probably better observation hockey user than Loki. Devil Fruit counters Loki's fruits, and then he's got the Gravity Fruit to help. Great Swordsman, but yeah, this character beats Loki, I think, right? Does Konohamaru beat Loki? The biggest problem with all this is that it's all too Blackbeard dependent, though, right? It really comes down to because Loki's fruits are too good. His fruits are too good. His fruits are too good. If we're comparing to the first character, right? Loki's fruits are so strong that if we get Blackbeard, then it just becomes like building a character that can beat base Loki. So that's the real flaw with this. If we did it again, I'd have to think of like some way to maybe just removing the Yami Yami no Mi. It's hard to say. If I'm comparing the two, strength, Konohamaru is stronger than guy number one. Speed, I think Garp is faster than Venus Juro without his fruit. Garp is insanely fast if you look at old Garp versus at Hachinosu, right? Durability, it's basically the same thing. They both have regen, right? Endurance, Roger, endurance. I think Konohamaru's got better endurance. I think this character's pretty even so far, but I'm leaning Konohamaru. I'm giving Luffy the benefit of the doubt for having better endurance than Roger because we've seen Luffy for so long, right? But we know that Roger can also fight like a full day and a night against Prime Whitebeard. I think it's pretty even. I'd say pretty even. Conqueror's Haki, we got Rocks. Conqueror's Haki, we got Roger. You could argue it whichever way. I'm leaning Konohamaru right now. Observation Haki. This is where Konohamaru takes the edge. Devil Fruits. So here we said Blackbeard, and we gave him both the fruits. Yami plus Gura, right? I think Yami plus Gura is obviously better than Yami plus Fujitora's fruit. Weapon skill, definitely Herald way beyond Odin. Battle IQ, I think Rayleigh above Marco. I think guy number one is stronger than guy number two. Guy number one edges it in the two big areas that are gaps. Is the Gura Gura no Mi is just way stronger than Fujitora's fruit. It's like a legendary, all-powerful fruit. And then Herald is just like on a completely different level than Odin when it comes to, that shit. Meek, thanks for the 5. Sorry for not being here in a minute. Loved your Saturday theory. Thanks. I think it's a really good theory, personally. My new headcanon, just one question. How does Dragon being the insurgent serpent fit? I don't know. How does Dragon being the insurgent serpent fit? I don't know. I don't think of Dragon as that. Odin has better weapon skill than Herald? Oh, come on. This is like a Shanks... This is like a silly discussion. Like, no, we're saying what... Like, I don't want to open up this whole weapon skill thing again, right? What we mean is, like... They get the abilities of using the weapon that Herald had, right? Herald would beat... Would Herald beat Odin in a sword duel? Yes. This is ridiculous. Herald is obviously going to beat Loki and Odin in a sword duel. It's not even close. You get the weapon plus their ability to wield the weapon. This is turning into a sword skill versus That's just silly. That's just silly. And also, even if we want to somehow like define what weapon skill means, like just weapon skill means, like, and somehow remove hockey from the equation, Harold is probably still more skilled than Odin. Harold is like a 150-year-old giant, you know, like. I guess that's not a fair argument because you can't just put by that logic Dorian Broggy or whatever. But I don't know. I can't really. At best, it's even. But you'd pick Harold as the better swordsman, right? Odin would beat Harold in a straight sword skills clash. How? Harold's got. What the fuck? I don't think Odin even can split the sky. I don't think he was ever sky splitting level at any point. All right, this is, I don't know. If I'm not hinging this whole debate on weapon skill discussion, because I thought the community's generally past that idea of what weapon skill means, right? The only reason that like we're separating weapon skill from Conqueror's Hockey is because if we had a dude like Garp as our pick for Conqueror's Hockey, then Garp obviously still can't use any of his ability on a weapon, right? But it's when I'm saying weapon plus weapon skill, I'm assuming that level of like the character's level, like their competency with the weapon translates. So they get the Conqueror's Odin, they get all that shit that the main character had. This is stupid. We're not talking about the hockey man arguments or whatever. Harold versus Odin, Harold's clearly the superior swordsman. That's not even a debate. You'd want Harold wielding the weapon over Odin. All right, whatever. We're not getting into all this. We're not getting into all this because this is somehow turned into Shanks Mihawk shit. in a sense. All right. Either way, I think we were successfully able to build a character to beat Loki in both situations. The catch that makes me feel unhappy is that we had to do it with Blackbeard. We had to do it with Blackbeard both times. I think the true challenge would be if Blackbeard was somehow excluded. So that is the catch. All right, everybody. All right, with that,